Having a premature baby is scary for anybody. Within the first week, Ioane had blood coming through the ventilation tube. We had to get ready to go to Starship, potentially for heart surgery. There was a lot of paperwork and a lot of choices that we had to make for his cares. Luckily, through the doctors talking, we found that he was actually born with a hemangioma growing on his vocal cord. The donor for me, I guess, is the safety barrier.
Yeah.
The proof's there that other people have been through it. There's figures to show you the percentages. This research that Max is doing will help other families in the very similar situation that we faced.
So this research project is looking at the long-term consequences of preterm birth or other things that happen in early postnatal life.
The importance of integrated data to inform our decision making is that at present time we focus very much on the physical and the health aspects of individuals, but those have far-reaching effects into the person's social and economic and other aspects of their life. And I think this integrated data set really provides an opportunity to try and understand the individual more holistically.
The advice of the doctors and the nurses around you, you get an immediate sense that they know what they're doing. There's information to support you along in your journey, and there's really difficult decisions you feel like you've got to make. You kind of realise could fundamentally impact them.
So this data is fantastic because actually we can join up, health, education, this whole person overview of what happens to them as they grow up and as they enter adult life themselves.
Before the integrated data, this study would have been basically impossible. We would have had to put this together ourselves. Also, from a privacy concern, it's a really big deal that now it's all done in Statistics New Zealand in the most secure environment possible.
It's positive because it gives you a long-term look at what to expect. At the moment we're facing some of the challenges now, but to know in 10 years' time what the possibility of school may look like, just knowing that that support will already be in place for him to succeed.
If Next Step wasn't here or other places like Next Step, then there would be a huge number of students who would probably not have such a bright future.
So a NEET is a young person who's not in employment, education or training. From our point of view, we are interested in working with NEET youth who have just come from a school environment, possibly haven't had the kind of success they might have liked at school, may not have achieved any qualifications, but are looking to get on a pathway into either further education or employment.
Identifying their strengths, but also highlighting to them that there's potential. So giving them hope when they're feeling like there's nothing left.
For us as a service provider, our job is to look at working with that young person to help remove some of their barriers to achievement or participation, and also to help them develop some of those skills and resources that they need.
The more information you have, the better choices you can make. It's not just the data set around the needs, but it's that data set in conjunction with other data that we've got, bus routes, schools, where we're getting kids from, that gives us insight and the opportunity to tailor and make choices around how we deploy our services and how we engage with other providers.
Integrated data gives us a really holistic view of the person, so we can say with a much higher degree of confidence, here's what's happening in that person's life, here's how we would look to work with them. Gives us a really powerful and realistic view into the world that we haven't previously had.
Then we can learn an awful lot about where we might be holding a shop front, or holding a recruitment fair, or building relationships with the high school or the intermediate even that's in that area.
Stats NZ team took the NEET youth data that they'd produced and turned it into effectively a colour-coded map that lets you just take a quick glance at a city and see, based on a nice colourful diagram, where some of the, more problematic areas are in terms of the distribution of NEET youth.
It's that data in conjunction with what we're experiencing in terms of our clients and our engagement that gives us a whole range of choices and insights.
It is about showing them that there's hope, they've got just as much potential as anybody else, and it's about having options and opportunities to have options.
Understanding our children and young people better means that we can actually step in to support them earlier before their problems escalate.
Integrated data is when you link information together so that you can look at life events across time. The integrated data is really useful in that it pulls data together from a bunch of different areas and right across government, and so it enables a different lens to be applied to data. And so instead of data sitting in the silo of one government agency, it's able to be used for a broader range of questions by a broader range of people.
Working with Statistics New Zealand means that we have access to a huge range of data that we didn't have before. And what this means is that we can paint a holistic picture of well-being for children in New Zealand, and we can actually understand where gaps are and what they need in order to flourish, so that we can work out what services that they require in order to maximise their well-being.
I'm Hamish Falikona, residential youth worker, also studying to become a social worker. I was in care for about 3 years, since I was 14. Also a resident here as a young person. I like working with young people, specifically for troubled young people, because I feel that's where I can make a lot of difference, knowing where I came from.
Now we have access to the integrated data infrastructure from Statistics New Zealand. It means that we can understand all of New Zealand's children better than ever before and make real evidence-based decisions about what they need to support them and where they're lacking and how we can step in to help.
Stats NZ really understands the value and the potential value that there is in the integrated data. We work hard with our partner agencies to make sure that the right data is there so that the right questions can be asked and answered. We balance all that with making sure that the privacy of the people whose data is included in our integrated data is maintained.
Being here helps build a foundation for young people. When we know more about the young person, whether at home or at school, we can help them more.
Everyone can work together to help play their part in supporting children and young people in New Zealand.